Morning. Made it out to the lake here. Well, the pond, I guess. A little bit of a different mission this morning. I don't have much time, but there is a little pond where I live that has proven to hold some really big bass. I'm not really sure. Honestly, my goal is to catch one bass. That's it. One bass. I am right here in the middle of a little shitty pond. So, got a flag in over that way. That one's got the bigger shiner. And then we've got the other one over here. The situation right now is a whole bunch of bait fish all over the place. And I'm not necessarily sure if these bass are going to be eating because they have an endless supply of food here. I caught one bluegill earlier and it was 4 inches, and I might be bragging. Short little trip here, but the mission is simple: catch one bass and discover the lake a little bit more. I didn't realize it was going to be 16 feet deep out here, which is pretty cool. Let's see what happens. So as I was sitting here, I hadn't quite started recording, but an older gentleman was walking his dog on this bridge next to me. And I said morning, small talk, whatever, and I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be this deep. And then he told me that, so this used to be an old clay pit that they used to build some of the city with. And once they were done, they filled it up, put some fish in here, and now it's kind of a staple of the downtown area here. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's a sweet little town. The actual park that I'm at, I fished in the summertime. I caught a bass of 2.5 pounds maybe. There's an archery range behind me. So I keep hearing this little downtown area has the farmers market during the summer. I'm actually right outside it's a little bar restaurant, but it's also connected to a curling center, the Chaska Curling Center. But again, mission: one singular bass. Gotta make sure. The mission. One singular bass. So hopefully one of these things pop. I just kind of keep moving these around. Like I said, there's a ton of food here for the bass, so I can't imagine, but maybe a shiner will entice them a little bit, something different on the menu. So we'll see. All right, I walked over to this tip up to move it, and I walked over here, and as I was going to grab it, the flag popped. I guess the mission's complete. There are bigger ones in here, I promise. This boy was hungry. But let's try an upgrade. Let's try an upgrade. The fish, that's what he ate. Let's get a sweet release. Oh, come on. Super graceful. Just caught a small bass. And relocated. Put a new minnow on, and this flag popped, so. That was either I don't think that was a minnow trip. It's a small minnow on there. But being as it's a small minnow, there are a lot of small fish in here. There are big ones. But it could be a small fish messing around. Bluegills harassing my minnow, so we will see. I don't know what's going on with this thing. That was definitely a fish on there, because when that thing popped, I saw it go. But, I mean, smaller minnow. I've had 2 flags now. Granted, I used a smaller shiner earlier, caught about a 4-inch bass, so who knows, but we're gonna keep trying. Okay, it has been a little bit quiet since that little weird situation with the one flag. Nothing ever came back for it. I don't know, bass tend to do that. They'll pick up a bait and then spit it right away, but I don't know. I'm kind of convinced it was maybe something smaller, but who knows? I definitely do not. Time check, we're coming up on 10 after 10, 10:15. Got about an hour or so left. I can't decide if I want to, actually I can't decide. I have made a decision just now, just in this moment. You saw me make a decision. I was trying to figure out if I want to go that way behind me or if I want to go farther back that way. I caught my bass this summer back that way behind me, but that way I was over there and I know there's a 16-foot hole and a lot of very aggressive structure. Oh, is that gonna pop? I thought I just saw the rod tip. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go that way. It's closer to where my truck is. The beach is over there too, so beach means there's sand, so different kind of bottom transition. So I think I'm gonna go over there, find something that looks juicy, set these 2 flags back up, and then let her rock for another 45 minutes, and then call it a day. It's been an interesting one. It's been a fun one. I wanted to do this. I fished it in the summer, like I've said. It's kind of neat being out here in the middle of town, just fishing, getting some flags to go, and I caught a bass. Might have been 4 inches, but 4 inches is big enough for today. Yeah, so I'm gonna pick these flags up and Scooby on down there. So, all right, the clock strikes 11:15. It's been dead quiet. I did see one fish on the live scope that made me think it was a bass, but couldn't tell. I want to go get a breakfast sandwich from the bakery here downtown, so I'm gonna get going here. Yeah, probably wrap up a little outro later once I get back to my place. So, yeah, fun little morning. Time to go do some Sunday stuff. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours since the trip has ended. I made it down to the bakery, Red Bench Bakery in Chaska. Great every time I've been there. They have some of the best breakfast sandwiches, croissants. That thing was so good. And then since I got there close to closing time, they were trying to ditch their cookies. He said, "Hey, you want a few cookies?" I said, "Sure," and he handed me a fat box of them. Before I got to the bakery, there was a lot of perspective kind of put in place and just a lot of like, just trying to be in the moment, I guess. And once I talked to that older man this morning, he explained to me how the lake that I was on was a clay pit that they used to build a lot of the structures in Chaska. I thought that was really sweet, like super cool. I thought that was a cool piece of history. I wish I had the camera rolling, but that's okay. You know, taking the moment to look around and realize that the overall theme of the town and the overall, like, everything is that history. And you can see the history when you're downtown Chaska. I took a drive through downtown this morning. I really wanted to show off, like, how foggy it was. Little did I know that drive this morning, kind of what it was going to mean after the fact. Just kind of reflecting on everything and seeing downtown and seeing all of the clay and like the brick and the coloration. Going out fishing this morning and kind of what I've been talking about, it actually reminds me of this piece that I found at Goodwill. Many men go fishing and don't realize that it is not always the fish that they are after. And I think this morning was a prime example of that. Today's trip, fishing trip, wasn't a trip that's going to be bragged about on Instagram, but from what I took from it and the experience that I had this morning was really good. It was really good to be in the moment and be where my feet were. I didn't go out and catch the biggest fish. I didn't go out and catch huge numbers of it, but there was more that I caught out of it than, you know, just fish. So my message would be, you know, take a look around, take a moment in every moment to just breathe and just be where your feet are and appreciate what's around you, because You might be missing a lot more than you think.